Welcome back, children. So today we are back with the remaining portion of the NCERT Geography book, Chapter 5, Water. So last day we have dealt with from what is the source of water on the Earth's surface and what are the different sources of fresh water, why there is an immense need for conserving water, what is meant by salinity of water, and then we have read that what are the different movements of water. Within that we have come across about the waves, the tidal waves, and which sometimes become quite destructive to form the tsunami waves. Tsunamis are the harbor waves. So today we will look into the second movement, that is tides. So what are tides? The rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day is called a tide. It is high tide when water covers much of the shore by rising to its highest level. It is low tide when the water falls to the lowest level and recedes from the shore. So this phenomena is not new to us. Many a times we may have taken a walk along the seashore and we have seen that the ocean water has receded back, and sometimes it has come very near to the shore. So this phenomena, when the water reaches the shore to a greater extent and then naturally goes back, which happens twice in a day, is called the tidal movement. The strong gravitational pull exerted by the sun and the moon on the Earth's surface causes the tides. So what is the reason behind this? The strong gravitational pull of the sun and the moon. Okay, the water of the Earth closer to the moon gets pulled under the influence of the moon's gravitational force and causes high tide. So high tide is caused by the force of the moon. Okay, during the full moon, the new moon days, the sun, the moon and the earth are in the same line and the tides are the highest. These tides are called the spring tides. But when the moon is in the first and the last quarter, the ocean water gets drawn in diagonally opposite direction by the gravitational pull of the sun and the moon both, resulting in the low tides. You can see from the picture here, spring tide and the neap tide, what is the position of the earth and the sun and the moon. This particular diagram you need to practice. All right. So due to the different position of the earth and the sun and the moon, the high tide, neap tide and the low tides are caused, and the highest one is the spring tide. Okay, high tides help in navigation. They raise the water level close to the shore and helps the ships to arrive at the harbor more easily. The high tides also help in fishing. Many more fish come to the shore during the high tide. This enables fishermen to get a plentiful catch. The rise and the fall of water due to the tide is being used to generate electricity in some places. So this particular movement of the high and the low, the rise and fall of the tide is often used for making the alternate sources of energy, which is also known as the tidal energy. So just like the energy derived from the sun and the wind, we can also derive this energy from the tidal waves because they are of immense strength and velocity. All right. So this is how due to the variational position of the sun, moon and the earth, the tides are occurring. Thirdly, we are coming to the ocean currents. Ocean currents are streams of water flowing constantly on the ocean surface in definite directions. The ocean currents may be warm or cold. Generally, the warm ocean currents originate near the equator and move towards the pole. Now, this is again very relevant a point. You already know that the places near the equator receive the highest amount of sunlight, right? And as we move from the equator towards the pole, the heat received by the earth from the sun decreases significantly. So it is true about the ocean waters also, or the water bodies also, which gets maximum heat during the day from the sun near the equators. So the warm current usually generates near the equator. The cold currents carry water from the polar or the higher latitudes, or tropical or the lower latitude. This is again the vice versa situation. The Labrador, now we have got a example of it. The Labrador ocean current is cold current, while the Gulf Stream is a warm current. Okay, the ocean current influence the temperature conditions of the area. So the warm ocean currents will make the coast warmer, and the cold ocean currents will make the coast colder. Warm currents bring about warm temperature over land surface. The areas where the warm and the cold currents meet provide the best fishing grounds of the world. So the most of the important fishing grounds of the world are formed at the confluence, or at the point where the cold ocean current meets the warm. Okay, so it is the ideal fishing grounds. So there are several fishing grounds across the globe where these conditions are met, and presence of shallow water is there along with the confluence of both the currents. Okay, seas around Japan and the eastern coast of North America are such examples. The areas where a warm and cold current meet also experience foggy weather, making it difficult for navigation. So we will often see that our glasses get frosted if suppose we were in an AC room and suddenly we go out of the room and get exposed to a warmer environment. So it is also true about the oceans. So when a warm ocean current meet a cold one, then a foggy weather appears there, or it creates a foggy weather, and it makes difficult for navigation for the movement of the huge barges or the ships or the cargoes. So that is all about the chapter, children, where we have learnt really in insight about the water cycle, or the cyclic movement of water from the earth's surface to through the atmosphere and then again back onto the land. In between the in between the precipitation which forms the surface runoff moves across the earth's surface and then falls or joins into the big ocean bodies. Then we have seen that this water is scarce, or the availability of fresh water is scarce on earth. Mostly we get the salty water which is stored in the ocean and the seas, and then that is why water conservation becomes of prime importance. Then we have seen the different movements of the water, ocean water, starting with the waves, which cause significant amount of destruction and causes and forms different landforms also along the coastal region, and among which tsunami is the most violent one, which has struck India in the year 2004, and the Indira Point became submerged due to this phenomena. Then we have seen water tides, the rhythmic rise and fall of the ocean water. So about all the aspects of nature related to water we are being able to see in this chapter. So we have seen about the variation in the position of sun, moon and the earth, which causes the high tides, the spring tides or the neap tides. So after that we have seen about the ocean currents, which are of extreme importance and global importance because of several reasons, because of navigation, because of the fresh catch, and also which has a lot of which has given way to a lot of fishing grounds across the world in the coast of both Atlantic and Pacific. So this particular chapter becomes important, children. Go through, I would suggest you to go through the atlas and look for the different ocean currents map, so that you get a little overview about a little in insight you will get to know about it, which current flows through where. We have also seen that a current which is formed near the equator will have will be more warm, it will be warm than the ocean currents which are generated or travelled from the polar region or the ice capped polar region. Okay, so children, please go through the chapter very well And if you have any doubts, any query at any point of time after consulting your book, please comment and let me know. If you have liked the explanation, please like the video and share with your friends if it can be of some help to them. I will be back with some other chapter the next day. Till then, take care.